Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So we've still got a minute before we begin, and I thought we might start in a reclined position this morning, so lying down, but of course, if you prefer to stay seated, that's fine. And the only prop you might like to have near you this morning is a strap, or if you don't have a strap, a scarf will be fine, just for a hamstring stretch that we're going to work with in a little while. So just take your time to come to lie down. If you're a bit cool this morning, you might cover yourselves with a blanket. You might even like to take glasses off if you wear glasses. Morning, Jody. And you might start just by sighing the breath away a few times, letting go of earlier this morning, yesterday, last night, the sleep you had or didn't have overnight. Just taking a few moments to settle yourself into this present moment. If you're feeling a little bit tense or there's some frustration, you might like to actually breathe in and tense the body as tightly as you can. Hold that tension, so scrunch up the toes, make fists, clench the buttocks, the face, the chest, and then let all of that tension go as you exhale. And just do this a couple more times. Jimi Hendrix once said, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." I'd like us to begin with a minute of silence this morning, a little pause in which we can turn our attention to those suffering, particularly bringing to mind the people in Ukraine at the moment who are perhaps losing their lives and their livelihoods and their homes. We also have a lot of suffering happening in East Queensland at the moment with torrential flooding. So just taking these first few moments to open our minds and our hearts up to all of those suffering in our world. And I'd like to begin this morning by sharing a beautiful poem with you called For Peace by John O'Donoghue. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches from violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. that we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb. That our swords be beaten into plowshares. And no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the holy mountain. That's huge. So as we commence our practice together this morning, let us remember that our spiritual practice is not just for ourselves alone. It is for the benefit of the entire world and all beings in our world. We can pray for the sick and we can meditate for the end of suffering for all beings. Before we begin to move, I'd like to share a few passages with you by an article by a woman called Pema Kandral Rinpoche. Pema says, we've been born into a world that is in dire need of our help. She encourages us to ask ourselves questions like, which choice will express my heartfelt wish for the benefit of myself and all others? Which choice will advance the joy of beings and their release from suffering? She says, maybe right now it sounds a bit grandiose for us to work for the benefit of all beings. But if we aim as high as our sights allow, then the aspiration itself will be fulfilling. We will find contentment in the clarity and the enlightened intention itself. We must be willing to do our best just as we are, wherever we find ourselves on this path of awakening. Our world needs us now. Other beings need our best efforts. The purpose of our life is to wake up, show up, and heed the call. So in our practice this morning, we are focusing on connecting with our true, compassionate, loving nature, with the idea that love is the best medicine, a healing tonic that we need and the whole world needs. So if you're in a seated position, I'll get you to just take your time now to come to lie down, and we're going to all start in a reclined position, but with the feet stepped up close to the buttocks. So if you'd just like to move into that shape now. And we're also going to bring the hands now to rest over the spiritual heart center. So one hand on top of the other. I'm going to come to meet you back on the mat in a moment. But just as you breathe now, I invite you to imagine that you are breathing in a stream of love, that your breath is love. Allow love to fill your being from the crown of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. If you find it challenging to feel this love, to connect with love, you might like to call to mind someone in your life who has loved you in an uncomplicated way. Someone who has been very kind and warm towards you. Visualize this person here with you now. Perhaps they are sitting next to you. Perhaps they are stroking your forehead. Or perhaps their hands are also resting on your heart. Perhaps they are quietly humming. So we start at home with ourselves, and we acknowledge that taking care of our hearts, minds, and bodies is taking positive action that will benefit all. We're going to work with a bit of humming through the practice this morning. So just resting the hands over the heart, and on your next inhale, raising your arms up to the sky. Open the palms upwards, and we'll hum the hands back to the heart. A soothing sound. 4 more of these. Breathing, open the arms up to the sky. And humming back to the heart. Keep going. Last one. Take a resting breath there. And then we're going to draw the right knee in towards the chest, interlace the fingers around or under the knee, and stretch the left leg out along the mat. Just make sure you're lying in a nice straight line, tucking the chin forward. Now we'll point the left toes, and as we breathe in, let's raise that left leg up to the sky, flex the foot, and as we exhale, we'll slowly lower that left leg down. Heel may hover off the floor, and then we point the toes. Breathing in, raise the left leg up, flex the foot, and exhale, lower. We'll do 3 more. Just in your own time, linking the movement with your breath. Just listening to the sound of the breath. Soothing, calming rhythm. Last one. This time you can let the heel connect with the mat. And we're going to move into the dynamic leg lock pose. So always feel free to have a look if you're not quite sure of any of these movements. So as we breathe in, we'll stretch the right leg away, stretch both arms up overhead. So stretching from fingertip to toe tip. And on the exhalation, draw that right knee in. Option to lift the head to the knee, if that's okay for your neck. Good. So 4 more of these. Breathe in. Stretch the arms overhead, stretch the right leg long, and exhale, draw the knee in, perhaps lifting the head. Good, keep going. And last one. Good. Now we're going to keep a hold of that right knee and move into a twist. So we'll place the left hand on the outer edge of the right knee. The right foot can rest on your left thigh. Right arm will go out to shoulder height, palm facing up or down. And then as we exhale, we're going to carry this right knee across the body, endeavoring to keep the shoulders relaxed, particularly that right shoulder. And you may like to turn your head to look towards your right fingers. Just relax the face. Make sure you're not clenching the teeth. So softening here as much as you can, allowing the breath to flow up and down your spine. Good, and then gently come back to center. Give that right knee a little hug, and then stretch the right leg out along the mat and take one breath here. You might sigh it away. And then we're going to do that same sequence on the other side. So draw the left knee in, interlace the fingers around or under the knee, point your right toes. And when you're ready, inhale, raise the right leg up. Flex the foot and lower. Heel may hover off the floor. 4 more of these. Breathing in, get the chin tucking forward, back of the neck long. And lower. Synchronizing the movement with your breath. When you finish the last one, you can allow that heel to rest down on the mat. And then we move into our leg lock pose. So we inhale, stretch the left leg away, arms up and overhead. And as we exhale, we draw the left knee in, head may lift towards the knee. So 4 more of these. Breathe in, stretch it out. And exhale, draw in. Keep going, giving our internal organs a lovely massage, the digestive system, the eliminative system. Keep the face relaxed. There's a little smile on your lips. When you come to that last one, you keep a hold of the left knee. We're moving into our twist. So the left foot can rest on the thigh, right hand to the outer edge of the left knee, left arm at shoulder height, palm up or down. And as you exhale, carrying that knee across the body, relaxing your shoulders, particularly that left shoulder. And you may choose to turn towards the left fingers if that's okay for the neck. Otherwise, just looking straight up and breathe. Good. Now, when you feel that you've worked evenly with the twist, come back to center and we'll bring both knees into the chest. Have a hand on each knee, so knees are hip width apart. We'll just make some little circles with our ankles, circling the feet, sending some loving kindness and care and attention down into our feet and our ankles, and reverse. Good, and then we're going to work into our hips. So keep the hands on the knees and just start to make some nice wide circles and then bring the knees in towards each other. So you take the knees out wide, have a look if you're not sure, then they come in towards each other. Wide and in together. Good, and then reversing. Good. And bring the knees back towards each other. Place the feet down on the mat. So a little bit more work into our hip buttock area. Let's place the right ankle on the left thigh. And you might choose to stay here, right hand on the inner edge of the right knee, working that knee away. But if you can go a bit further, we lift the left foot up, interlace the fingers under the left knee. Keeping the feet flexed, and we hold this stretch, feeling your spine nice and long on the floor, chin tucking forward, breath flowing. Good, and then we'll gently release and swap sides. So left ankle on your right thigh, either staying in this position or interlace your fingers under the right knee. Back of the neck long, face relaxed, forehead soft and smooth. No tension in the jaws, the teeth, the tongue relaxed, and your breath flowing. And gently release, feet down. Now, if you have a strap, you might like to grab that now, or your scarf, because we're going to move into our hamstring stretch. You don't have to use one. I'm not using one. So we can, we'll start off with the left leg. You can even just interlace the fingers behind the thigh. We want to try to straighten the leg. So if it's bent like this, it's best to actually take it away to try and keep it straight, pushing out through the heel. Some of you might be able to hold the back of the calf. Some of you might be able to hold onto your big toe, or you pop the strap or the scarf around the ball of that left foot. Now, for a bit of extra lower back support, you can keep this right leg bent, but if you don't need that extra support, you can stretch that right leg out along the mat, keeping the right foot flexed. You might have the right hand on your right hip or out to the side. Chin tucks forward and we breathe. We're not trying to force anything. We're not trying to push or strain. We're trying to soften here, connect with our breath. Now you're welcome to stay in this exact position, or those of you who'd like to add a bit of an adductor stretch, which is our inner thigh muscle, we can slowly, as we exhale, take this left leg out to the side. Sometimes when we do this, the right side starts to lift off the ground. So you can have that right arm out to the side, or keep pressing the hand on the hip to keep that right buttock down. Couple more breaths here. And then you slowly bring that left leg back to center and release any straps and just place that left foot down close to the buttock and step the right foot up as well. So let's do the same on the other side now, either holding the back of the right leg or strap around the ball of the foot. Left leg can stay bent or straight. Just connecting with your breath. So our focus this morning really connects with the first yama, the first ethical principle of yoga, according to Patanjali, ahimsa, a lack of violence or aggression towards ourselves and others. This is explained a bit more in Sutra 2.35. Ahimsa pratistayam tatsanidao virat yaga. When the yogi has thoroughly understood the nature of violence, they are established firmly in the practice of non-violence. Peace in words, thoughts, and deeds is a sign of goodwill and love towards all. If you want to add that adductor stretch, just slowly as you exhale, take the right leg out to the side. And also this on ahimsa. In the vicinity of a yogi, humans and animals who are otherwise violent and antipathetic towards each other abandon their hostility and exhibit friendliness and mutual tolerance. Okay, let's bring that right leg back to center and release the leg down. You can pop the strap or the scarf out of the way to the side. So now you're back in a semi-supine position, feet are hip width apart, nice long spine, your arms down alongside you. So preparing now to work with bridge, Setu Bandhasana. And if you'd like to join with me on the exhale as we lower down, we can come back to our humming, directing that humming sound into the heart. So let's do 5 of these, and then I'll give you the option to hold bridge. Exhale all breath. Breathing in as we start to lift up, pressing into the feet, the palms of the hands, tips of the shoulders. 4 more like this. Breathe in. Let's work at your own pace with your own breath now. Now you can continue working exactly the same as this, lifting up and lowering, or now we come up and we're going to hold. And you might like to lift the forearms, so your fingers are pointing up towards the sky, palms facing each other, holding. Those of you who want a little bit extra, you can take the hands onto the sacrum, walk your feet a little bit closer, and then place the right ankle on your left thigh. So again, another hip opener. So we're allowing that right knee to open up out to the side. Keep lifting the hips. Or if this is not for you this morning, just working with the first option, lifting and lowering, and know that you can always rest. You can always hug the knees in and rock from side to side. So listening to your body this morning and what is right for you. Good. If you've placed that ankle on the thigh, lower that foot and let's try the other side. So really try to let that left knee go. Let it flop out to the side, but keep lifting the left hip. Breath flowing. And then place that left foot down. Let's all lower ourselves down. Bring the knees in, hand on each knee, legs across at the ankles, and let's make some little circles on the floor. Nice little massage for our lower back. Sending some loving attention into the lower part of the spine, sacrum. And then come back to center, cross the legs the other way, circling in the opposite direction. Good. And then let's carefully roll over to one side. We're going to make our way up into a seated position. So you might be kneeling, sitting cross-legged, even legs stretched out in front. You might even sit up onto a cushion or a folded blanket if that's helpful. So we're just going to do a little bit of a stretch now for the sides of the body. So the arms are out to the side, lengthening up through the crown top, but softening the shoulders. Exhale all breath. And then as we breathe in, let's raise the arms to shoulder height. As we exhale, we're tipping over to the left side, just stretching this right arm up, perhaps a little over the head. And we breathe ourselves back to center, breathe into the heart, and tip over to the right side. Let's keep going. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Face soft. One more to each side. And then inhale, come back to center and bring your hands back over your heart and take a breath here. Now we're going to fold forward. So if you're cross-legged like me, we're going to change the cross of the legs over. If the legs are stretched out, excuse me, or you're kneeling, just keep them as they are. So we'll breathe in and gently coming forward. You might like to close the eyes. And in this position, we're going to do some humming again into the heart, 5 rounds. So deep breath in. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, if we want peace, we have to be peace. Peace is a practice, not a hope. Let's gently come up and just sit for a moment. If you're comfortable, the eyes closed, shoulders relaxed, heart lifting. And let's imagine that a stream of love and light and joy is flowing down from the sky in through our crown, filling the body as we exhale. So breathing in like a funnel, you're drawing this experience, this sensation of love from above down through the crown. And as you exhale, allow it to fill your being. Just 3 more breaths in this way. Let's blink the eyes open. And we're going to come into extended child pose. So just swinging the legs around. So knees can be hip width or mat width apart. Big toes are touching, arms extending forward. So your ears are between your arms. Any knee issues, you could perhaps pop a blanket or some padding under the knees. And once you arrive in this shape, connecting with your breath. If you want to try a slightly different stretch or a different experience in this pose, you can try coming up onto your fingertips. It's like you're clawing the mat, and you can also tuck your toes. It's quite different. It's optional. You might just choose to stay as you are. Keep the breath flowing. Breathe into the back of the body. Bringing the pose to life with your breath. Good. Now, if you're clawing the mat, just release that now. Preparing to work with our hippie cat. So if you're not quite sure of this movement, you can have a look. As we inhale, we come around to one side and then we come forward, around to the other side and all the way back. So making circles, come around to one side, lean forward, around to the other side and back. One more. And then we reverse. Good. When you finish, take a resting breath in extended child. And then we're going to prepare to work with a flowing sequence, moving from this position into cat and then back into child. And again, if you'd like to join with me as we exhale, we'll hum to the heart. So we'll do 5 of these and then we'll add down face dog pose. So let's exhale all breath. And then breathing in, come up onto all fours. Let the heart lead, humming back. Four more like this. Face soft. Last one. Now, if you don't want to do down face dog pose this one, you can keep working with this. Keep working with cat, keep the humming going. Otherwise, we tuck the toes now and we lift up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana, down face dog pose. If you like, you can begin by bending one leg and then the other. Fingers spread wide, middle fingers pointing straight ahead. Let the head hang. Make sure there's no tension being held in the neck, the face. You might like to blow the breath out through the mouth. In a moment, I'll offer a variation, an extension, but always know that you can come down onto child pose and have a little rest and come back up to join me. That's the best option for you this morning. All right, so if you'd like to come along with me, we're going to walk the feet together and raise the right leg up. So coming into our 3-legged dog. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the right knee towards the right elbow. Inhale, stretch the right leg back into the sky. And then your knee comes towards your forehead. Inhale, stretch the leg back. Now this time we see if we can bring the right knee towards the left elbow. A little trickier. Inhale, stretch the leg back. Now look towards your hands and step that right foot between your hands and drop the left knee down, untucking the toes. So those of you just who are working with cat, you might like to join us now for some lunging. Any knee issues, you can give some padding under that left knee. So coming up and roll the shoulders back, hands are onto the right thigh, heart open. Let's take a deep breath in and come forward. Face relaxed. 2 more. Breathe in and breathe out. In and breathe out. Let's stay here for 2 or 3 breaths. Get the hands on the thigh, or this morning you might even like to interlace the fingers behind you. See if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together, opening the heart a little more. Tilt the head just a little. Breathe into the heart. And then take the hands back onto the right thigh. We're going to work with another hamstring stretch here. So we come back to center, and as we exhale, we curl the right toes back towards us. Working to straighten this right leg, leaning forward. So your hands can stay on the right thigh, or some of you might be able to bring your fingertips down to the mat. And we hold this stretch. Good. And then carefully come up. Step that leg back. Now we're going to come back into down face dog pose, those of you who'd like to, otherwise you could just rest in child. So come up onto your knees, tuck your toes, down face dog pose, walk your feet together, raise the left leg up into our three-legged dog. On your next exhale, knee comes towards your left elbow. Inhale, stretch the leg back. Knee to your forehead. Inhale back. Knee to your right elbow. And back. Now looking towards your hands, we're stepping the left foot between the hands, drop the right knee down, untuck your toes, come up. Again, any knee issues, you can give your knee a little bit of padding. Hands onto our thigh, shoulders back, heart open. Deep breath in. And come back to center. And exhale. Last one. And holding the lunge now. Hands can stay on the thigh or interlace the fingers behind you. Lift the heart, tilt the head just a little. Skin of the face soft. Perhaps a little gentle smile on your lips. And breathe. And then gently release, come back into our hamstring stretch. So as we exhale, we start to lean forward, curling the left toes back towards us. Hands can stay on the thigh or fingers might come down to your mat. Let's gently come up and just take that left leg back and we'll all come down into extended child once again. Take a breath or two here. Just observe what's going on inside, how you're feeling. No judgment. Okay, now this next practice is quite strong on the wrists and the shoulders, working to build up a bit of upper body strength. But if that's not what you're feeling like this morning, you can work with a bit more cat or rest in child pose or work with some other gentler stretch at this point. Otherwise, we're going to move into dog and plank. So it's a flowing sequence. Of course, you can watch if you're not quite sure. So either choosing a gentle option at this point or come up onto your knees, tuck your toes, come into dog. From here, we're going to bend the legs, seeing if we can bring the shins parallel to the floor. Come forward into plank. So the body's in a nice straight line. And then back into dog. So we bend the legs, come forward into plank, and back into dog. So work with up to 3 more of these. You can always take a rest if need be. When you finish that one, just pause in dog or drop down onto the knees, and then we're going to reverse directions. So now from dog, we come straight forward into plank. Shoulders over the wrists, bend the legs and flow back into dog. So up to 4 more of these. Straight forward into plank, bend the legs, back into dog. Keep going, keep the breath flowing. And when you finish, you can stay in dog for another 2 or 3 breaths if you're happy, or we're coming down into child. This time, either resting your arms alongside you or making fists with your hands and resting your forehead on your fists. Sigh the breath away. Again, you might imagine that stream of love and light flowing down from the sky into the back of your heart chakra, your spiritual heart center, between the shoulder blades. Perhaps it's a colour that's coming to mind, or just a sensation, a light, a sensation of warmth, tingling. Imagining a stream, a channel of pure love flowing down into your heart chakra, your heart energy center, Anahata. Allow that love to fill your being and to travel to parts of you that are not feeling great this morning. On a physical level or mental or emotional. From here, let's lift the head and we're going to come to lie down onto our tummies and work with a couple of back strengthening poses. So you can just start by resting one hand on top of the other, your chin or forehead on your hands. Feet are hip width, but if the lower back's feeling really tender this morning, they might be mat width apart. And this is a variation of Sphinx, where the hands are level with our face, but the hands are out wider than the mat. You can have a look if you're not sure. Creating it like a right angle, a 90-degree angle with our hands, and our forehead is on the mat. So the legs and feet stay on the mat for this variation. We exhale all breath. And as we breathe in, we're going to lift the head, the chest, and the arms. And we really try to lift the elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other. As we exhale, we lower down. So breathing in, we lift, press the tops of the feet down, lift the elbows, and exhale, lower. Let's do up to 3 more of these. The last one, you have the option of holding, if you'd like to, as long as you'd like to. If you don't want to hold, you just come down. You might rest one hand on top of the other again and rest your chin or forehead on your hands. Otherwise, we're holding, we're breathing. And then relax when you need to. If that's gone into your lower back a bit, you can bend the lower legs and just swing them from side to side. If it's really not feeling great, you can always push back into child pose. All right, now our second back strengthening pose is locust, Shalabhasana. First of all, not locust, Dhanurasana, which we don't do very often. So we're going to do half bow, it's bow pose. And those of you who'd like to, will try full bow. It's quite a strong back bend though, so if you're not feeling up to it, you might do crocodile, this pose instead, Makarasana. Otherwise, let's extend the left arm above, lengthen it out above the head, bend the right leg, and either rest the right hand on the buttock, or if you can, reach to hold onto your foot or your ankle. And if you do get a hold, see if you can bring the heel to touch the buttock and bring the inner knees to touch. Forehead is on the mat. So we're just going to work dynamically, lifting and lowering with the breath, not holding this variation. Try to draw that right shoulder away from the mat a little bit as well. Exhale, all breath. As we breathe in, we lift arms, legs, and head. Stretch the left fingers forward, point the left toes back, and exhale, lower. 4 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. And when you finish, release that right leg and we swap over. So right arm goes above the head. We bend the left leg, either left hand on the buttock or reaching to hold onto your foot or your ankle. Inner knees touching, see if you can bring the left heel towards the buttock. Forehead is on the mat. Exhale, all breath. And inhale, lifting up. And lower. 4 more of these. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. And lower. Now release both arms by your sides, head to one side, and just give in. Again, you've always got the option of pushing back into child if you've had enough of the back bends at this point. All right, so full bow Dhanurasana, quite strong. We're going to bend both legs and either rest the hands on the buttocks or hold on to our feet or our ankles. And again, if we've got a hold, we try to bring the heels to touch the buttocks or towards them. Arms are straight, shoulders lifting away from the mat. Now we're just going to lift up once and you can stay as long as or as little as you like. Exhale, all breath. And breathing in, we lift. See if you can bring your big toes to touch. Face is soft, breathing into the heart. When you've had enough, you come down and we're all going to meet in child pose. So when you're ready, you can push back. Any version of child pose that you like.
And let's work with, again, some humming. 5 rounds into the heart. Breathing in. Gently release and come up and come to sit on your mat, legs stretched out. So this is our last movement before we come to sit for a meditation. I think most of you know this, but you can have a look if you're not sure. So it combines a back bend with a forward bend. You can either work with table, which is the gentler back bend. So that's where we bend the legs like this, feet to hip width. And as we inhale, we lift up. You may just sort of get to here. Some of you might be able to lift all the way up and let the head hang. And then we come down and then we straighten the legs, take the arms up and come forward. The stronger back bend is Purvottanasana, where we have the legs straight and we lift the legs up. Any neck issues, you look along the body, otherwise you might be able to take the head back. And then we come down and into our forward fold. So we'll do 3 rounds and then you'll have the option of either holding the forward fold for a few breaths or holding the back bend. You can choose which one you'd like to stay in for a few breaths. Okay, so we're either bending the legs to start or legs straight. Exhale all breath. Breathing in, we lift up. And breathing out, we lower. And straightening the legs. Inhale, lengthen the arms up, growing taller. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And exhale, take them behind you. So round 2. Inhale into our back bend. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. Exhale. So last one. So either choose to come into the back bend or come along with me, we'll go back into the forward bend and we'll stay just for a few breaths. When you've had enough, releasing. Exhale. And just take a breath here. Okay, so we're going to work with a meditation for about 8 or so minutes, and then a very short relaxation. So if you can stay seated, you're welcome to do that. Or if you're a bit low in energy this morning, you might like to lie down. I'll just come back closer to you. You can also sit on a chair. So just grab what you need to be supported, so that if you're sitting, the spine can be nice and straight and tall, but also there's some ease in the pose. It's not all hard work and effort. This is a variation of the Buddhist Tonglen meditation practice. Softening the shoulders. If you're lying down, just make sure that the spine is in a straight line, perhaps moving glasses. Closing the eyes if you feel comfortable. And allowing your attention now to move back to your spiritual heart center. The part of you where compassion, kindness, and care for your own struggle, as well as the struggles of others, reside. Focus on the kindness and compassion and love that is within your heart. Notice the gentleness of your heart energy, the love that is there for you, the compassion that is there for you and there for others. Notice the kindness and love that is part of your heart center. Let your awareness of your heart center and your heart energy grow. Tara Brach reminds us that the alchemy of compassion is that it arises naturally when we allow ourselves to connect with our own vulnerability. Practices like these actually undo resistance to feeling and being with our own vulnerability. So take a moment now to scan and sense if there's any part of your being that is calling for a healing attention. If there's anything in the background going on in your life that is expressing in your body, your heart, perhaps some hurt or woundedness or fear or sorrow, grief, something unresolved, some conflict. Let the situation be very close in so that you can really get in touch with it. And begin to breathe right into that place. Letting the breath help you to contact directly and intimately what's there. As you touch this place of great vulnerability, you might ask, what's the worst part of this? What am I afraid of? What's most upsetting? What am I believing is wrong?
Acknowledge your courageous willingness to touch what's most difficult. And be aware of your ability to hold this experience with great tenderness and love. Perhaps whispering to this part of you, I'm here for you. You're not alone. Now, in the practice of Tonglen, we begin to widen our attention to imagine others who are experiencing this same kind of pain or suffering. And as we breathe in, we begin to inhale the pain and suffering and cries of the world. And we breathe out our love, our care, our compassion. You might bring to mind the people in Ukraine at the moment, or the people up north whose homes have been flooded. Or you might bring to mind a particular person in your life who really needs some healing energy at the moment. Let that person be close in right now so that you can see their eyes and see what they look like when they're having a hard time. Remind yourself of what's going on. Inhaling the pain, the suffering, the fear, hurt, and sorrow, the collective suffering, the shared suffering. And with the out-breath, you can allow that pain and vulnerability to be held in a very vast, healing, compassionate presence. With the out-breath, you offer a prayer to the world or to one particular person. Inhaling the anguish, the pain, the darkness. And as you exhale, your heart acts as a flow through, transforming the suffering in the world. Each of us has the capacity to experience and offer the world an open heart, a boundless heart space that can hold all of life. Begin to visualize love bathing the whole planet. Love embracing, surrounding the whole planet like a giant net of stars, all linked together. Now, very gently, let's release this practice. If you're seated, you might like to just stay seated for the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, lying down for a short Shavasana. Let's just begin our relaxation by tensing the body as tightly as possible as you breathe in. And let all that tension go as you breathe out. And just do this twice more. Just allowing the whole body now to drop down into Mother Earth. Feeling the support, the care of Mother Earth, holding you, cradling you. While you're resting, I'd like to share a closing prayer by Diane Ackerman. In the name of the daybreak and the eyelids of morning and the wayfaring moon and the night when it departs, I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, as a healer of misery, as a messenger of wonder, as an architect of peace. In the name of the sun and its mirrors, and the day that embraces it, and the cloud veils drawn over it, and the uttermost night, and the male and the female, and the plants bursting with seed, and the crowning seasons of the firefly and the apple. I will honor all life, wherever and in whatever form it may dwell, on earth, my home, and in the mansions of the stars. Feel free to remain lying down if you're happy there. But if you're ready to move on into the rest of your day, start now to deepen the breath. Wriggle your fingers and your toes. Have a little bit of a stretch. Carefully rolling over to one side and come up to sit. Let's bring the hands together at the heart space in Namaskar Mudra. Nice tall spine. And bowing your head down towards your heart. Lifting that up. Namaste. Thank you for joining me this morning. Love to you all. See you soon.
Yeah.